as promised, here's the second video to follow up. We're talking about the coronavirus and how do businesses prepare for that, set themselves up to respond well, because it's here and we've got to reimagine work. I'll trust you will simply look at the earlier video and we will pick up right here. We finished where you had spent some time, people on your team, and I'm suggesting at the team level, everybody is thinking about how's work getting done now in this new world? Who's impacted, which of our connections are, and how are we finding ways to work differently? So that's where we left off. Take a look at the other video. Once you have that information, you've imagined the new world. Now it's time for each team to begin to map and talk through their key processes. Now this isn't every process that we do, but there are certain things that in your particular department you have to do very well. It's how you provide value to the organization and its customers. So identify which those are, and then actually in the new world, map it. That is, it starts at this point, and then it progresses at its next step, and who's doing that step, and where are the handoffs happening to different people in our department or people externally. So I'm actually recommending you draw this, and assuming you are still in a place where you can get your people together, you can collaboratively put up a big piece of butcher paper and tell folks, here's the process. Y'all start drawing and give them markers. And with just about that, maybe just a tad more of information, as a team, they will collectively pull together something that will graphically illustrate what the process is, who is involved at what points, and you'll see right where the key handoffs are. And that's very important. Once you have your map, then you got to make sure that everyone is clear that that map makes sense in the new world, and who's doing what, where the handoffs are, at which points, and by which times, dates, and so forth. What are your timelines to get the job done? Now you've envisioned the work you have to do. In order to do that work, what IT and other resources will you need? So, I mean, just the obvious one. I've been using Zoom a little bit here and there for 2 years or so. And last week, I just went ahead and bumped up and got the real membership so I can have multiple people going. That is a key IT need. One of my clients, yes, they're going to video communication, but not all of their computers have videos on it. So they need to get little cameras, right, that they can plug on top. So what else will people need to be able to work in the way that they've imagined? Then, so what do people need to learn? So this is thinking through, gosh, we're going to be doing that way. What is maybe being called forth? I can assume I'll do it well, but hey, why don't we just identify that and you don't have to do in-person training to learn how to have an effective online meeting or how to work productively at home. Those are both two great articles that just came out on Harvard Business Review yesterday, I think. So there's lots of information, but what you want to do is identify what those learning needs are right away. Then the last question as a team, what roadblocks do you foresee in the work as you imagine it, but now in this world where we're separated and we're working from home or otherwise remotely working from anywhere? What are some roadblocks? I don't see how we're going to get around this, because that's something that you're going to need to get additional thinking and perhaps resources from the executive team. So that's what we do at a team level, and every team, every department, some people call their teams departments, some are broken down further than that. Small companies, it might be one big team. But each team needs to have this conversation. And then this is all rolled up and collected and brought. And I believe the executive team or their designees, people who are going to do the analysis and bring recommendations to the executive team. But this happens at the organizational level. So You gather, organize all the data from all of these groups, and then you're analyzing that entire data set. And you're looking for, and I try to find a better word than completeness, but the idea is you're looking at this data set, and what people have told you you're now looking at is each department's summary of how work is done, key processes with key linkages and so forth. So they've just said, here's how we intend to do work. What you need to step back is just look and go, okay, so is this really how work will get done? Have we identified the key ways that we need, or did we miss something? Did we forget to map out some important process? Do we miss particular steps that we know are there? Well, we didn't idealize the process. You don't want to do that. You want to do it as work actually happens. So you're looking for that both within each department and across all departments. So this might take a little bit of time to do well, right? You're also analyzing it. So what are people saying that they need in terms of resources? What are people saying they need in terms of learning and development? And once you analyze that and you think about the time and resources that you have to put to it, you decide on the changes that you're going to be made by when. In other words, here's our plan. You pull that together for the organization as a whole. And then, using appropriate methods, you communicate the plan candidly to all of your stakeholders. What you're probably doing, I mean, you may said, oh, we've already come up with our plan and we're already communicating to stakeholders, and good for you for having that level of communication right now. What you possibly might be missing, and what I hope I'd backfill with, is all of the prior information, which is now about, hey, we need to keep relationships, communication, linkages that naturally happen when people bump up next to each other in hallways and can just poke their head in an office, or when they can jump on a plane and go visit a client face to face. That's what's not going to happen. So how else can you make those linkages happen? How do you do it thoughtfully as an organization? That's where we've been today. Hope you find this helpful. Please share it. This is important information to help leaders continue to think, how do we respond? How do we, all of us, our human family, how do we respond to what is a global threat? How do we work in ways that minimize this, that allow us to keep our businesses going and keep our people safe? So please share this.